What's up, Grasshoppers? Chun here, and the tournament continues. This is round 2 of the Friday tournament held during week 5 of Smogon Tour XIII. I get paired up against Kuja this time, and I don't really know anything about my opponent, which can be good or bad. I assume he's very good though, but let's see if I can advance to round 3 like I did in week 2. I'm going to lead with Raikou. He's going to go with Heatran. I don't know what Heatran set he could be running, and the fact that Aura doesn't want it KO. So I go to Gyarados to scout the set. He ends up showing a rotom-w though, expecting me to Aura Sphere right off the bat, so that tells you that his Heatran could be offensive. But this is a definite mismatch. I need to see what kind of rotom-w it is. In case of Trick, I go to Bronzong. Since Bronzong actually wants to be tricked, he goes for Thunderbolt, and it does almost half, which means it's Choice Specs. Thankfully, I have an Electric immunity in Flygon, so I go to it, and he stays in to try for the 2-hit KO, if nothing else, to scout the team. Knowing he's not going to stay in, I decided to U-turn out to see what he would go to and move accordingly. He reveals Swampert, which I assume to be his rocker, since he switched out a Heatran on turn 1. So I go to Bronzong to set up the same, except that he reveals Waterfall, and not only that, it one-shots Bronzong, so his Swampert is Choice Banded. Bad move on my end, since I should have been paying attention to the fact that he didn't have leftovers. So I go to Gyarados for the Intimidate drop. I have to try to win the match without rocks, and I go for Waterfall to either hit Swampert or Rotom-w, which he ends up going to. Bronzong was my Trick fodder since it carries Toxic Orb, with Trick as well. So I have to go to my backup, which is Raikou. He does end up going for the Trick, gets my Lumberry, and it'll be interesting to see how Choice Specs Raikou will do for the rest of the game. Extra Sentry was the best move there, since he's got a Swampert and a Rotom-w. He reveals Shaman. Seeing the damage, he's got some special defense invested into this Shaman. I scout for Earth Power by going to Gyarados. He just Seed Flares, so it looks like it could be Leech Seed. But I really need to find out what his coverage move is, and until then I really don't have a safe switch in. So I decided that Raikou's the best switch in for right now. Even if it goes down, at least his Rotom-w won't get specs back. He shows the sub, so now I'm thinking it's Sub Seed Shaman. And I stay in and lock into Extra Sensory, breaking the sub. He does show that he does have Earth Power, and I assume the last move is Leech Seed at this point, but I could be wrong. Stay in to maintain the pressure, since I need Shaman weakened, so my sweepers can get through it. He switches out, reveals Tyranitar, and gets the momentum back, so I definitely can't stay in. I go to Gyarados to get the Intimidate drop and scout what kind of set it could be. He goes for Crunch, and it does about the same damage that Scarftar would do at -1, but he could be Dragon Dance as well. So I'm going to go for Waterfall. He's going to switch out, which makes me more suspicious that his T-Tar is a Dragon Dancer. He goes back to Shaman. It's definitely running max HP, judging from the damage Waterfall did. And I just decided to fodder Gyarados at this point. Not too sure why, since he still has a Choice Band Swampert as well as a Tyranitar. I honestly think going to Raikou is the better move here, especially since rocks aren't up on either side, but maybe I thought Gyarados couldn't sweep with him having Shaman, Rotom-w, and Swampert. But regardless, I send Flygon in on the free switch. I decide to go for U-turn, trying to bluff the choice item, knowing he'd most likely switch. He goes back to Heatran. I show my own Tyranitar. I decide to go for Dragon Dance here. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if I was thinking he would set up Stealth Rock or not, but it ends up backfiring big time. He just double switches to Swampert. Bad play on my end, since outright attacking would have been better. So, and this is where foddering Gyarados comes back to bite me as well, since I end up going to Flygon, who takes 89% from Waterfall, so I'm not playing this mid-game too well. And I just reveal the fact that I'm mixed here, and just drop a Draco Meteor, but he reveals his last, which is a Suicune. And the Draco Meteor doesn't do much, but I do have enough speed to outrun offensive Coon, so I just show the Earthquake before going down. And I'm going to bring Raikou in on the free switch. He's got a Swampert and a Tyranitar, and since Raikou's wearing some stylish eyewear, figured locking into Aura Sphere would be a good move despite him having Rotom-w still. And he does go back to Swampert. It's a 2-hit KO. I have to go for it since I have no switch-ins for Swampert anymore. and all my flyers and levitators are gone. He goes to rotom-w. It was obvious, but I had to force Swampert out at that point. And I decided to preserve Raikou once again and reveal my last, which is a Magneton. Really didn't have much choice since Magneton wasn't going to be sweeping anytime soon. So I guess I could have saved it to blow up on something later on. But he goes for Hydro Pump. It's an easy 2-hit KO. And I just fodder Magneton out and bring Raikou back in to hit something else. And it's a 2-6 situation, and so it's looking really, really bad. Because I haven't taken down a single one of his Pokemon yet. So I have to go for Extra Sensory, even though he has Tyranitar. He fodders rotom-w out since Sand is up. He brings Tyranitar in as expected. I stay in, and it's at this point I believe I want to fodder Raikou out so Tyranitar can get a free switch in. I was hoping it was Scarftar, but he is Dragon Dance, so that is not good. So I have to take the risk and go to my own T-Tar. Hope he Dragon Dances again, which he ends up doing. I might have a chance since I'm running Shuka Berry, and I have to hope he's not running it. So he shows Earthquake. Shuka prevents the KO. I go for my own and get a crit, which was huge since it normally does not one-hit KO. He brings in Swampert. I don't have time to set up now, and even though I haven't KO'd anything, I've done some damage to his team, so I go for Crunch. It's enough to KO Swampert as well, so can I mount a comeback? He brings in Suicune. I actually thought Tyranitar was done at this point, so I just click Crunch, and I outspeed it, so it looks like it's Crocoon. No wonder Draco Meteor did so little earlier, but the Surf does not take me out, leaving me at 1%. I go for Crunch again. Since he can't risk switching at this point, I take down the Suicune. Brings in Shaman. I know Shaman is faster, so T-Tar will bite the dust at this point as it goes down to Earth Power, and it's all up to Raikou. With him having Shaman and Heatran left, a Specs Aura Sphere is the best move to lock into. I go for it, but those special defense EVs he's got allow him to live the Aura Sphere, and he finishes Raikou off with an Earth Power. And so the attempt to mount a last-ditch effort comes to an end. It turned out to be a very good game since my opponent's team was just as unique as my own, if not more so. I really tried to come back in the end there to win it when it all seemed lost, especially after that shaky mid-game I had, but it was a bit anticlimactic, I guess. But anyway, it looks like I'll have to wait until Sunday's tournament to see how I do. But until then, guys, Chun is out. Peace.